And great. All right, wonderful. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. It is a Friday, and you'll probably be watching this on some other day. But today we have Karim with us. Karim is a really good friend of mine and a wonderful, wonderful pixel artist. I absolutely love his work. Go to kimo.net to follow him. But anyway, today he's not going to be teaching us about pixel art. He's going to be teaching us about Godot and an introduction to Godot. Given that his background is mostly in the art side and he really wanted to make games, he decided to self-teach himself. Well, he's basically a self-taught Godot developer and pixel artist. So I'll let him introduce himself as well. Karim, it's great to have you. Can you tell us a tiny bit about yourself and what we'll be doing today?
Thank you, Ashraf. As Ashraf said, I'm a pixel artist by trade. Godot developer هلا recently I've picked it up. I did some game jams along the way, and I'm trying to make some games full time. And hopefully, I can show you and introduce you around the engine. Okay,
Awesome.
let's start.
Yes. So
Gonna share the
basically,
screen.
wonderful. All right.
Include sound. Okay. So we're gonna start opening Godot. This is the main website for it, godotengine.org. I think Ashraf shared the link to this. For it to download, you just have to click this, and it directs you to whatever platform you have, either Windows or Linux or Mac. For me, I have Mac. I downloaded it. The easy thing about Godot is that it's 90 megabytes only, so you could just download it and run instantly. You don't need to install. After you've done that, let's start opening Godot. Are you listening to me? Is everything okay?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, first we're greeted by the project
We have.
manager at the start.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
No, Michi, we had a hand raised. Thus, I think we're good. For anyone that's asking, the link has been sent in chat, so you can just click on it and download the thing. Kareem, what are we going to be doing?
We're gonna start a new project in Godot, see how the editor is, see the interface around the editor, and start trying to make a 2D pixel art platformer, which is a very simple, basic thing in Godot to do. Okay. So this is the main project manager thing that we're greeted in at the start. These are all the projects that we have developed. من قبل. There's the asset library where you can find like templates and other things that people have done and shared for free. So we're going to start with a new project. We click here, this new button. We have three options here, forward plus, mobile, and compatibility. We're going to start with compatibility because it's something that we need, like we don't need more than that because it's a very simple game with 2D pixel art assets. Uh, we can select the path. I'm going to select Godot. I'm going to select the desktop, select parent folder. And we're going to name the project. I'm going to name it Game Academy Intro to Godot. And press Create Folder. For the version control, we're going to press None for now because we don't need it. And we start the project, create and edit. The interface of Godot is, as you can see, is very, it might be like hard to process at the start, but I'm gonna try to explain everything. We have the 2D, we have 2D here, 3D script and asset library, which is what we saw at the start. We're gonna start working with 2D. The 3D, we're not gonna use it this project because it's not something we're gonna use. The script is the editor that we're gonna use inside the engine. This is the file system. All the full project files are here. The import settings, the inspector for every node that we need. Godot is based on a node system. So we're going to start by a 2D node, 2D scene node. Going to name it main. This is going to be our main scene. Save it, create a folder, uh, scenes. Okay. I'm going to save it as main.tscn.
Okay, Kareem, so I
This
have
is,
just a quick question, if
yeah.
that's okay, before we continue.
Hmm.
So basically what we've done so far is we've hopped into the website, we've downloaded the engine, and we
Yes.
just opened it basically. After
Hmm.
opening it, we decided on where we want to save our project, and that's basically going to be the folder where we run our game.
That's correct.
Uh, then we opened up the thing. So at the top, we've got 2D for 2D games, 3D for 3D games, script for
Yes,
wherever we're going to write our code, and asset lib is whatever at the moment. Is this correct so far?
that's true.
Okay, and then on the left, on the far left side where you have the word main, this is you called this a
This
node.
is,
So what
yeah,
is that exactly?
the node is like it's a system of organization inside the scene. This is the main scene. This is the root. This is the root node of the scene, and we will be adding more nodes to this to compose the scene altogether. We're going to be add player scene, be adding a player scene, a coin scene for pickup. We're going to be adding labels and music and other stuff. We're going to see right, no, هلا بعد شوي in the next
Okay,
moment.
cool, awesome. And
Now
you
here,
ended, yeah, before I cut you off, you basically just added an extra folder, and this is where we're going to be placing our stuff. And you added it by right-clicking on resin, creating new folder. Well, how'd you do it again?
no, this is I just saved. I just scene,
Okay,
saved scene, and a window opened, and I saved it inside this folder.
awesome. All
I'm
right.
gonna create another folder now for assets. I'm gonna name it assets. We can color code it to make it easier to see. The scenes I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna keep it blue. I'm gonna get also one more folder, which is gonna be mm, script. Gonna color code it for green for ease of access. Okay. For the main scene, we're gonna be adding a new player scene. Gonna click on main, press plus. We have all these nodes. We only need the 2D ones. We're gonna look for character body 2D, which is, yeah, we're just gonna search for it. Character body 2D, and there we have it. You can see there's a warning saying that it has no collision shape. For every character body 2D, we need a collision shape for it to interact with the physics, with the world, and how to like jump and land on the ground and everything. So we're gonna click on this, change it to player, and add a node beneath it. We're gonna need a collision shape called shape 2D. Okay, we're also gonna need a sprite 2D. Sprite is basically just the visuals of the player. Okay, for the assets, we're gonna go to the folder that we downloaded from Kenny assets. I'm gonna pick the 1-bit platformer pack, go to tile map, and tile map, we want this one and this one, both packed and packed transparent.
Okay,
Gonna
so
drag it,
yeah, go on,
and
finish
we're
this,
gonna
and then I
drag
have a
it.
few questions.
We're going to drag it into the asset folder. We have it here.
Okay, so basically what we've done so far is to make sure that we have everything under our main, what we do is we need to
Hmm.
click on it before adding anything new, and we add a new thing using the plus button. So
That's right.
what we added, perfect. So what we've added is a character controller. Is that correct? Is that what it's called, or is it character controller 2D?
A character body to the
Okay.
a character body to
Um,
the is for yeah.
okay, we have someone, Mariam is saying that this is a bit too fast. So I'm
Okay.
just gonna ask people where they're at. So guys, have you downloaded Godot yet? Let's start there. Okay, so okay, perfect. If you have downloaded Godot, has everyone that's wanted to follow along opened Godot? And okay, someone made the folders. Okay, so after you open Godot, what you're gonna do is you're going to have something on the top left side called main. It's under your scene. So in this thing, Kareem, is you can show us just how to write to add a thing to main.
Okay, to add a thing to main, we press this and press
Okay.
Control A or this button, Add
Okay.
Child Node.
So basically, you click on the on the main, and then you click on plus. So when we click on plus, what window do we get?
When we click on plus, we have all the nodes listed beneath us.
Okay.
We can search for it manually or manual like this under 2D node and search for it, or just type character body 2D, or just very simple CHBO 2D.
Okay. So
Just simple
basically,
keywords.
makes sense. So now what we're doing at the moment is we are basically adding a character body, and this is the thing that our player is going to control. So because we're not sure exactly where it is, we decided to search for it using the search bar by writing character body 2D or CHBO 2D. And from there, we clicked on the character body and we just made sure that it's in our scene. Correct?
We created it, yes.
Okay. So does this make sense to everyone? Is this clear? Okay, wonderful. So then after that, the player had an error, and the error was that there was no body given to our player because it was basically just a thing added into the scene, but it was kind of like a ghost. So, the ghost doesn't really have a body, and that gave us like a small triangle error thing. And so to fix this error thingy, we had to add a collision shape and a sprite. So to do this, we clicked on our on our player because we
On our
wanted to
player.
add the thing perfect. We wanted to add the thing as a child to our player. So we clicked on our player, then we clicked on the plus, and then we started adding whatever was missing, and these two things that are missing
Collision shape.
are the collision shape 2D and the sprite 2D. And the reason we're using the 2D ones is because we are creating a 2D game. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, does this make sense to everyone, you guys? Let's just make sure that everyone is following along. Okay, we have a thumbs up. Honestly, loving these reactions. All right, so now I can see that we still have like a small exclamation point on the shape collision 2D. Is there a reason for
That's true.
this?
Yes, because we haven't assigned a collision shape yet. But before we can assign
Okay.
a collision shape, we're gonna add a
Mhm.
sprite for the player. So we're gonna
Ah,
go
yes.
to the transparent pact. I'm gonna drag it inside the texture of the sprite 2D. So we have the sprite 2D selected. We can
Yeah.
drag it over here directly or drag it to the texture empty.
Okay, but where
So
did
we
we get
have
it
all
from?
this from the assets that we imported, that we that we
Oh, the
got.
assets. We got these assets from Kenny, correct? Was it the first link or the
Yes,
second link?
the 1 bit thing.
Okay, do you have the link open by any chance, just so that we can show it to everyone? If not, I'll just copy
Mm,
paste it as well.
no, I think
Here.
it's just blocked. I think wait,
Okay. Oh, okay, okay. No
it's
worries.
this one.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's the 1-bit platformer pack, and I will send it in the chat over here for everyone to have a chance to see it.
Mhm.
Uh, okay. Now, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send us all the links that Kareem has sent in the chat right now. And on YouTube, they will also be posted on YouTube, so don't worry about that. Currently, we are using the pixel art assets and specifically the 1-bit platformer pack. We will then most likely also use the pixel platformer, correct, Kareem?
Yes, the 1 bit
Okay.
pixel pattern.
Awesome. And then there are three other sounds that you can download. One of them is for impact, one of them is for jingles, and the last one is just it's a Rolly SFX. Okay. So all of these again will be posted later on. So you can either follow along now after you've downloaded them, or you can just take a look at what's happening over here with Kareem. All right. So sorry for cutting you off. Basically, what we've done so far is we've imported our 1-bit platformer pack into our assets folder, and you colored the
Mhm.
assets folder red because it's easier to see this way. Then you
Yes,
grabbed the the PNG, which is
the, the transparent tile map.
okay, the
This one.
transparent tile map, and you either can drag it directly onto Sprite 2D, or you can click on Sprite 2D and drag it into texture. Is this correct?
Yes, that's true.
Awesome.
Okay, so we've dragged it now. Now we don't need all the tile map. We need to specify a region for it to select one of the characters that are present on this tile map. So we're going to go to the inside the inspector while selecting Sprite 2D. We go to inspector, we go to region and enable it. So we can enable just one region of the tile set. So we enable it. After that, we edit the region. We put the snap, this window opens and we have all the tile map open. We put the snap mode onto grid snap and select the step to be 16 by 16 because this grid is 16 by 16. Okay, so now we can zoom with this button and select all the first player sprites. You can use this or this or this or this. And close. Now we have only this region selected. We're gonna go to the animation of the sprite 2D. We're gonna specify the horizontal frames of this animation to the number of the sprites. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Gonna put it at 7. And now we can see only this guy. Okay, wait, just gonna make sure it's correct. Okay, close. Now we can see that this is blurred. This happens when we're doing pixel art. So to fix that, we're gonna go to project settings, project settings, go to rendering and textures. Instead of linear, we're gonna go with nearest. This is the ideal settings for the pixel art. And now it's crisp. Now that we have a shape, sprite, we can specify the shape. The collision, we're gonna go to shape, new rectangle shape, and drag it down to match the player. This should look right.
Okay, so can I give us a quick summary just to see if I understood it correctly? Because I'm learning
Yeah.
with everyone else. So,
Yes.
all right. So basically, after we imported our sprites into Godot, we dragged it onto our Sprite 2D, and then we did
Hmm.
something. I missed that part. We did something that allowed us
Yes.
to
To
go
select the region.
through part of it. Okay.
Yes. In
So,
Sprite 2D, we go to region and we
mhm,
enabled it.
okay.
After enabling it, we edited the region just while specifying the grid snap and specifying the step to 16 by 16 because it is 16 by 16 grid pixel art. And we selected all of these frames, which is one character basically, and all its
Okay.
animations.
Okay, so basically the way it knows that this like each of these boxes is one character is because the entire image is divided into 16 by 16 grids. And since each character is on a 16 by 16, this is how it's able to just divide all of them into different parts. And this is how it's able to put it in, like, basically show us one character at the end, correct? Instead of
Hmm.
like a line. Okay, that makes
Yes.
sense.
We divided the
Uh,
animation here in Sprite 2D under the inspector. We went into the animation and specified the horizontal frames of the animation to 7 frames,
okay.
which is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. Makes perfect sense. And then after we did this, we were done with the sprite 2D, and then we jumped into the collision shape 2D. In the collision
Yes.
shape 2D, you decided to use a rectangle as a shape because a square is a rectangle as well, and
Yes.
you change its shape so that it fits our character nicely while giving a tiny bit of error at the top and on the sides. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So we have one question from John, and he's saying, is the collision shape both the hitbox and the hurtbox, or just delimits the sprite from background objects? So what's the
No,
point of the collision?
this collision shape, I'm gonna make it interact only with the world. We're gonna have another collision shape, which is under an area, not character body 2D. So we're gonna add since you asked now, we're gonna add under main, no, under player. Actually, I'm just gonna right click on player and make save branch as scene. Okay, right click on player and save branch as scene. So we're gonna go into the scene folder and save the player as as a separate scene. And now we can see in main, there's this scene icon. We click it and we open the player scene. And this is it. Under player, we're gonna add another area 2D, which will have under it. We're gonna name the area 2D collectibles, which is gonna have under it another collision shape 2D. And okay, gonna make it into a circle, make it a little bit bigger than the player so that it's easier to pick up some stuff. And this we can change the color to make it distinguished from the other one. So this shape is basically interactable with the world, and this shape will be interactable with the collectibles. And for this to happen, we're gonna we're gonna be fiddling a bit with the collision. Under player, character body 2D, every physics node has a collision property in physics. So we're gonna right click and edit layer name. We're gonna have basically three collision layers. The world, which is the floor and the walls and everything that can be uh, interacted with, not interacted, collided with. We have the player, which is the player, and we have collectibles, or let's say interactables. Close. So now when we hover over these layers, we can see their names clearly. For the player, we don't want it to be on the layer world. We want it to be on the layer player. And the mask is what we can interact with. So the player is on the player layer, and the mask, we want to be able to interact with the world and the interactables, which is coins and door to end the level. So under player, under character body 2D, collision, we put 2 on the layer for the player, and 1 and 3 for world and collectibles. And we save. Any questions?
Yes, we have two questions. First, what's the point of the collectibles? Is this basically things we're going to collect, or is it what you call the thing that we're going to use to interact with collectibles? Like, what is this thing?
This area is the one that we're going to interact with. So
Okay.
wait, for player, we're going to actually remove this. Under player, we're going to remove the collectibles. And under the area 2D, which is this one, we're going to put only interactables. We're going to interact with, but we don't want the coin to know which layer we're on because it doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Um, and another question is, what's the point of the collision shape 2D? Like, what are we going to use it for? What is it used for in general?
We'll see how we will see. Once we set up our level, we will see how it interacts with the level and the collectibles.
Okay, awesome.
So now we have a player 2D. We're gonna add a script to it. To add a script, we just have to press on the player and attach a new or existing script on the selected node. So we click this, we open a script. Godot has made it very convenient for us to have 2D platformers. So this is the default one, character body 2D, basic movement. And we will save it in the scripts folder, which is this one, player.gd. Open. So res scripts, player.gd. Great. And we have the basic movement for the character body. We have the speed constant, we have the jump velocity constant, gravity, and we'll walk through this in a minute. I'm just gonna start. We're just gonna need something to walk on. So under main, we're going to create something called a tile map. So we add main, add a tile map layer node, and in the tile map, we're going to create a new tile set and click on it. On the bottom side of the engine, we're going to see a tile map and a tile set. I'm going to click on the tile set and drag the one that is not transparent. In the assets folder, there's a monochrome tile map packed. We drag it in, and it asks us if we want to automatically create tiles, and we say yes. So now we have all these tiles. We can select which one we want to use. For now, I'm just going to use this part, which is select this, and another one for the background. Okay. Now we return to tile map within the scene. We go to inspector. We want to create physics layer. Um, okay, we click on it. We go to physics layers. We add one element, which is going to be basically the world. We remove the collision mask because we don't need it. And we're going to keep the collision layer on world. Now we return back to the tile set. We select paint and select a property editor and the physics layer 0, which is this one. Can I click on this? And that is it. This is basically to add collision layers to the tile map. So whenever we draw one of these tiles, it's going to be built in within the with a physics body. So we go to tile map now and press 2D here to edit the level. And let's pick this one. This is basically something we can stand on. Now we can press play, and it will ask us which scene we want to play as the main scene. We're going to select current. And it shows us a very, very small game where we can move in. We're going to set up now the project settings to make it appear uh, normal in size. So we're going to go to project settings. You're going to go to window under display. We're going to set the viewport width to 320 and viewport height to 180 and press advanced setting. We're going to have the display window to 320 times 5 and 180 times 5. The reason I picked 320 and 180 is because it's very easily scalable to 360p, 720p, and 1080p. This is basically a very good size for pixel art that can be scalable for any size of screen. And okay, we're gonna change the stretch mode to canvas items and keep the aspect to keep and change the scale mode since it's a pixel art. It's better to do it in integer. And we're gonna close, save, and run again. And we have this. Gonna change it a bit. You can see that the window is this blue thing. So we're gonna go to tile map, gonna select the eraser or keep the pencil, no, or keep the pencil and just right click and erase everything. We can put this and drag it to create this whole thing. And then gonna click player, move it a bit here and see if it works. And it does. It's a little bit fast and jumps high, we're gonna change this in a bit. So if we open this كنت عم تسأل you were asking about the collision shape 2D. We're gonna go to the debug and make the collision shapes visible. Play again, and we can see that the blue square is interacting with the world, and the red square isn't interacting with anything yet, because we don't have anything to collect. This is basically the player movement done. Any questions?
Okay, I'm just going to try to summarize and
Okay.
wait for questions to see if I understood this correctly. One thing I missed is how you added the player script because it looks a bit scary to be honest.
Hmm.
But so you can just show us how you added it, that would be great.
Okay, I'm gonna just delete the script that's already in.
Hmm.
Gonna add another script. Just press on the player and press
Okay.
this button, which adds a script to the player.
Okay.
And there's a script that's already built in
Oh.
Godot, which is for character body 2D, platformer movement.
Hmm.
Okay? I didn't do
Perfect.
anything, it's just built in. When I
Okay.
press create, it opens the script, and I'm just gonna press this button. Wait, just gonna press this button to make it visible.
Okay.
Okay, this is basically the whole script. We're gonna edit it now to make it
Okay.
more, yeah.
Type.
So
So
instead of
right
constant,
before,
yeah,
just before we edit it, I just want to quickly summarize the tile map to see if I
okay,
understood it correctly as well. Um, so what we did is, first of all, to work on the tile map, we switched from the player to the main, and in the main, we added the tile map. The way we added the
yep,
tile map is the same way we've been adding all the player items, which is with the
yes,
plus and then right tile map, and then you get it. Inside the tile map, you have a bunch of things, including a tile map and a tile set, and these are
yes.
things we see at the bottom. The tile set is basically
Where we
the
set up the
map.
tile map.
Yes, it's what we've
This is where we
imported, and
set
this
up
is
the whole map. Yes,
okay. And this is
we
how we
just,
set the
yeah.
interaction with each object. So let's say that there are dangerous objects or something, then we can probably give them like certain features. Is this correct?
Um, no, interactable features are not within this. Like
Okay.
we can add a separate scene inside the tile map, but
Okay.
this is just for world building.
Okay. Okay. I see. And basically, we
Yeah.
use the tile map part to grab the world building items and the tile set part to say what is something that's interactable and what's something that isn't, basically. Is this correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Got it. And then we click on tile map, and since we have paint selected, we can basically, or like the mouse and all these items, we click on them, and then we just start painting. And we need to paint in a blue box, which is basically where the camera is. The blue box is a bit hard for us to see on share screen,
Yeah.
but I think we should be able to see it if we open Godot by ourselves. And
Yes.
as long as we are in the middle of this screen, we should be able to see our player and everything. Finally, since our tile map has a physics layer with a collision layer of 1, this means we're interacting, or sorry, it has a collision layer of the world. And since the
Yes.
player can interact with this through one of their collisions, then we're able to interact
Mm,
with the ground.
yes.
Is this correct so far?
Yes. That is true.
Great. Okay. And we have no questions so far in the chat, which is great. So we can keep going with the script or whatever it is you would like us to do.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, we're gonna go to the player and the script. Gonna want to be able to change the speed and the jump velocity. Gonna change this from constant to an export variable, so we can edit it from here. We're gonna export variable speed. Gonna do the same here. Export variable jump velocity. So we can see that it shows in the inspector, and we can change it from here. I'm gonna go, let's say, for 100 jump velocity, or 250 maybe. Save. Let's see if it's good. It's a little too slow. So we're gonna add it here. 200. Tab. It's a bit faster, but still slow. 350, save, attack. Okay. Oh, I need to press enter. Okay, it's better now. Gonna add a bit to the jump velocity, 350, enter, save. Okay, a lot better. So the reason here the jump velocity is minus 350 is because in Godot, we have the y going in the minus towards the up and going plus towards the bottom. So we have the jump velocity to be at minus 350, so it can jump upwards, which is in the negative value. Now we're going to add some animations to the character. For player, under player, we can add an animation player. Just this one. This is a very useful node, which can do a lot of stuff. Let's check it out. You select the animation player and the animation. We select now Sprite 2D. Under animation, okay, we add the animation. Idle, okay. We can change here from seconds to FPS. I'm gonna keep it at 10. It's gonna be 1 frame. And while having the animation selected here at the bottom, we click on Sprite 2D, and now we can see some keys that we can add. We select the frame, and it will be shown here at the start. We're gonna keep this animation to be auto-played on start. So we press this, and we're gonna keep it repeating, even though it's just 1 frame animation. We're gonna keep repeating and save. We'll add another animation, run. Run. Okay. We're gonna increase the frame by 1, and it's gonna be basically 3 frames. So while selecting the 0 and frame adaptation, we're gonna select the frame duration, the animation duration to be at 3 frames. Enter, and while selecting the first frame, we're gonna key in first one, and then key the second one. It's automatically increased, and then key the third one. We keep it at animation looping. I'm gonna play to see if it's all right. This is basically fine. And then we go and create another animation for jump. Again, it's gonna be just 1 frame. Save. Gonna go to 0, increase by 1, the frame 4, and key it in. Create. And these are basically all the 3 animations that we have so far. Gonna loop it. Okay. Now we need a way to select the animations while pressing the controls. Go to player, player script, open it. Inside, we're going to create a new function, which will handle the animations. Basically, let's first go through the script. So we have a speed, which is a variable that we set from the scene, from the inspector. We have a jump velocity, and we have a gravity, which is set inside Godot. We can have a different gravity. We're going to use the one set inside Godot. In the physics process, it calculates, it sets the gravity to increase with time. And if it's not on floor, and if it is on the floor, it's reset back to 0. Here we have a simple function, a simple code that says if input is action, just press UI accept, which is space. We add the jump velocity, which is minus 350. velocity dot y, which is the vertical velocity, we add it by 350, which is what we set up in the inspector. And the direction to see the direction, we just go var direction equal input dot get axis UI left and UI right, which is left and right. And by the way, we can change these by going to project settings. We go to input map, and every action we want to make, we can create it here. Add new action, left, right, and jump. These are all things we need. For left, we're gonna just press the button and it says left, okay? And the right, we press the button. I'm gonna go for right arrow, say okay, and jump. I'm gonna pick Z, so I pressed it and it goes for Z. This is basically what we have. Close. Now we can change these. For the jump button, I'm gonna go for jump, which is what we named it here. Jump right and left. For the left, we're gonna just go for left. For the right, I'm gonna go for right. This is basically how we set up the input action. It's also very reliable because you can add another one. Let's say space. Okay. You can also add a joypad buttons, joypad axes, and mouse buttons. This we can add, for example, D, okay, and A, okay. So we're gonna have multiple buttons on the same action. Okay. If direction, that means if one of the buttons left or right is pressed, we're gonna go velocity equals direction times speed. So direction is, if it's left, it's gonna go for minus x, and if it's right, it's gonna go for plus x, for plus. And the speed is the one that we set is 250, I think. The inspector, yes, 250. And then we call a function called move and slide, which will handle every movement function. Then we're gonna add, let's see,
Karim, just a second.
yes.
So we have a question about assigning the frame rate of the animation. Where
Hmm.
do we do this usually?
In the animation player, we have here 10 FPS at the bottom. We can change it from FPS to second, but I rather do it in FPS.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Another question. So
Hmm.
in the code, you have speed equals 300 and jump velocity is minus 400. But you said that the jump velocity was minus 250. Why is this different?
Yes, this is only when you're doing like we don't have to set this at all, by the way. You can
Hmm,
just say uh, float. We can just declare these and then just change them within the inspector. But this is just for testing purposes. We set first the initial velocity, and if we don't like it, we can just change it from the inspector, and it's easier for us. We don't have to go into the script every time. And this is handy if we have multiple players with multiple speeds. We can just change it from here, and it doesn't impact the other players.
okay, perfect. Um,
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, someone's asking about how does the game like keep running? You know, so in Unity there's this thing called an update function that runs on every frame. Is there something similar to this in Godot? Someone else was talking
Yes.
about, yeah, go on.
Yes, we have the physics process and the normal process. Physics process is basically a function that handles all physics-based functions, which is basically running and colliding and interacting with other stuff. And then we have the process, which is something like for a calculable game, for a card game, which doesn't require any physics. And we have something called ready, which is basically anything we need to do at the start of the loading before loading the game, we can run it here in this function. We're going to use it right now, actually. First of all, we're gonna add the animation player. We click it, we drag it, and then we hold Command or Control, and we put it here. That way we have a reference to it. I'm just gonna change the reference name to anim player for ease of access. And this is how we reference any node that's within the scene, the current scene. Basically, this is a variable of name animation player, of type animation player, and this is the dollar sign is basically referencing this animation player inside the scene tree. Now we're gonna make a function to keep track of animations. Func animation. We're gonna be returning void. So it's not gonna be returning any number, it's just gonna do its own thing. We're gonna do if we're pressing left, if we're not pressing anything, like we're on the floor, if velocity dot x equals 0, we're gonna go for animation player, the variable that we just created, and we're gonna press play, and the name of the animation, which is idle. We have the name of the animation here. Okay. If it's not 0, so else, first if it's 0 and else, if we're gonna play anim player dot play run, and we're gonna have two conditions for left and right. So if no, let's see. We're gonna start another if statement. If input dot is action just pressed, left. So we're gonna need this sprite, and we need to access gonna need to access the sprite. So we drag it, put it here while holding Command or Control. Sprite, rename it to sprite. The sprite dot flip h equals true. If input dot is action. Right. Right dot flip h equals false. This is what we want to access, flip h and flip. Let's see what it does. On animation run, if you press it, it flips to the other side. If you don't press it, it stays true to its original direction. So we'll try to play it now. If you go left, oh, you need to call the function first. So script, you need to call this function inside the physics process, so it updates every frame. Animation. This is basically how we call this function. Play. And it's running. Just gonna remove this, debug, simple collision trait, and I'm gonna add the animation for the jump. Put it here. If velocity dot y this time, because we need to see the elevation of the player, is not equal to 0. So if it's plus zero, or so it's fall if it's falling or if it's jumping, we're gonna put the animation player dot play jump animation. So this is it. We have the animation running and the player is moving, and we can move on to the next thing. Is there any questions?
It looks good, actually. So what we've done so far is basically we opened up the player script that we had, and we
Hmm.
just put a reference to the sprite and the animation player by dragging in the items and clicking control before leaving. We could have probably also typed at on ready and stuff. Um, but this is also much easier. And then at the
Yeah.
bottom, we wrote our first function. We write our functions by saying func and by having them be as leftmost as possible. Then
Yes.
we basically just more or less wrote what you wrote, which is play the animation for idle running, moving left and right, and sorry, for idle and running. And then depending on which way we're looking, we flip the sprite on the horizontal. And then finally,
Hmm.
if our sprite is moving on the vertical axis or the y-axis, then we set the animation to the jump animation. And when we were done with all
Yes.
of this, we called the function inside the physics process
Yes.
function.
This is
Okay,
this is what updates every frame.
perfect.
Yeah.
Great. All right. I think we're good on this. If anyone has any questions, let us know. If not, Karim, I think this is good. We can keep going.
Okay, we're just gonna add one thing to the animation player, which is for the run. We're gonna go to the folder for the impact sounds for Kenny. We're gonna go to audio and footstep carpet. Just drag the first one, which is carpet 000, the Audrey, and drag it into the assets folder. And now we have this sound. While pressing on it, we're gonna go to import and make sure it's not looping because we don't want it to loop. It's not a music, it's just a simple sound. And in the scene, we go back from import to scene. We add under player one audio stream player 2D. Okay, gonna name it to jump start, and I'm gonna drag this sound here into the stream, or we can just drag it onto the jump. And we have it here. Now under the run animation, we're gonna add under jump, we're gonna add this key, which is playing. We're gonna add it at 0, create, and click on it, put the value to on, so checked. So now, okay, I'm just gonna zoom it a little bit. So now every time it runs the first one, which is on the impact sound, it's gonna play the sound. And this is how we can add sound accurately to the animation player. This is just an example. We can do anything. You can do other stuff, but I'm just not gonna put the jump now. Just not gonna put the jump sound and the idle sound. It's just gonna be. This will have to suffice at the end. We don't have a lot of time. Okay, so now we can play. You can see that it runs with some sound. Okay. Now we're gonna have to create something called a collectible, which is a coin. So we're gonna create a new scene by pressing this plus button. We're gonna add another node, which is gonna be an area 2D. We rename it to coin. We save under scenes, coin.tscn, save. And then we're gonna add one sprite 2D or animated sprite 2D. And we're gonna add also collision shape 2D. Now this is a little bit different than sprite 2D, and it's a little less. We can't have more control over it. We're just gonna have a simple animation play. So we're gonna go to animate sprite 2D, animation, sprite frame, empty new sprite frames, and then we click on it. It will open this window. I'm gonna name it for, yeah, okay. Gonna keep it at default. I'm gonna click this button, which is a grid that can select the tile set. We go to assets, go to transparent one, and set the size at 16 by 16. Make sure to press enter so it applies. And we zoom in. We're gonna have 1 and 2. Select these 2 coins at the top and add 2 frames. Now, if we zoom in, we can see the animation, very simple animation playing. I'm gonna make it autoplay on load. We save, set the collision shape, just pause a minute, set the collision shape, create new, circle, and create it a bit bigger so that it's easier to pick up. Okay. And then we go to coin, the area. We need to set the collision of it to be interactables. We remove everything else because we don't need them. And now we can instantiate this scene, the coin that we created, by clicking this button. This is for adding child nodes, and this is for instantiating already created scenes, which is basically what a prefab is in Unity. We select the coin, and we can drag it here. Now, basically, it doesn't do anything because we don't have it interacting with anything. Even though the layer of the player interacts with it, we're going to need something which will introduce now the signals. So go back to player scene.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Karim, before we jump into
please.
this, just two questions.
Mm,
First of all, do you
yes,
mind just quickly reviewing how we put the sounds in?
yes. In the animation player, we first put under player an audio stream player 2D. Okay, this one.
Okay.
We click create. This will be it. We named it to jump. No, I mean, okay, we don't. It doesn't have to be jump. Okay, because it's just the
Yeah.
impact. And we dragged the music that's in the assets folder, the
Hmm.
sound, into this
Okay.
or into this. And we went to player, animation player, pressed on the animation tahat at the bottom,
Hmm.
and we selected run. And at the zero, sorry, at the zero, we clicked on, okay, we pressed our cheat. We have to have this selected, the jump, the audio, and we clicked on playing at 0. We clicked on playing. We then clicked on this to view the value of it, and we pressed it to make it active. And then we saved. Now every time
Okay.
it touches the floor, it plays the sound.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Makes sense. And thank you. And the second question is, shouldn't it be easier if the collision box was bigger to collect the coins?
This is the collision block for the coins. See? This is the area for the collectibles, which is red. It's a little bit bigger than the player.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So
And
I
you
guess
can make it
that's
as big
yes.
as you want, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
You want this to be bigger, Yani?
No, no, no. It's
This
just
one?
Rami was asking, shouldn't it be easier? And I guess the answer is yes, because the bigger the collision box is, the easier it is to collect. Correct?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay,
depends
cool.
on how easy you want to make the game for that player.
Makes sense.
And then we instantiated the coin that we created, which is an area 2D, and put it in the main scene. Now we're going to want to interact with this coin. So inside player, we're going to select the area for the collectibles. And next to the inspector, we have something called node. So we go into the node, there are signals and there is groups. Okay. For the signals, we want to click on this area entered. So whenever an area enters this area, we want this signal to react. So we're going to click on it, double click. We're going to select the player, the first thing, connect. And it says on collectibles area entered, and this is the parameter, which is the area that's connecting with this collectible area. We're gonna say area dot q q free, which will delete this area that's connected with it. So we're gonna try to press play and see what happens to the coin if we collect it. It disappears, which is what we wanted to do. But before disappearing, we want to also add a score. So we're gonna create now a signal manually. Instead of just selecting a node and clicking on the signal, we're gonna set a simple signal. We're gonna create a signal manually, which is signal, and we're gonna name the signals increment score. Okay, we initiated here signal. We're gonna emit it here. Emit signal. Um, what was it? Increment score.
There's an N missing. Increment
Yeah,
score.
there we go. And now for this signal to be useful, we're gonna go back to main and create a script for the main scene. I'm gonna put it inside the scripts folder, open, create, and we have an empty node. I'm gonna go create a function, ready. I'm gonna have, okay, pass for now. I'm gonna need a reference for the player. So we select the player, we drag it, and while holding command or control, we release it. And now we have a reference for the player. So we're gonna go player dot connect. Signal name is increment score. Player dot increment score dot connect. I'm going to create a new function called increment score. So, okay. Function increment score, and it returns void. I'm going to create a new variable for the score. Var score equals 0 at the start. And here we just do score plus equal 1, which is basically saying score equals score plus 1. Okay.
So Kareem,
You're gonna,
question as well. Increment
yeah,
score, the one inside dot connect, does it need to be the same name as the increment score for the player, or can it be something different?
it can be something different. It can be like plus 1.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. But this is easier for readability.
Mhm,
Anyway,
mhm.
and we added print score at the end to see how much we have scored. So go to 2D, gonna create more than one coin. So we press on this, Command D for duplicate, or we can just do duplicate, right click this, and we move it around. Another Command D for duplicate, move it around, we save and we run. So here in the console, we should be seeing 1, 2, 3. This is 1, got 1 coin, 2, and 3. And this is it. Any questions?
So basically what we did at the end for the coin is we wrote a function that's going to um, just
First,
give
we
us
emitted,
yeah, go on.
yeah. First, we emitted a signal within the player. So whenever the
Hmm.
collectible is interacting with another area, it sends this signal, which is called emit increment
Okay.
score. And this signal is then picked up by main because we reference the player. Since we reference
Hmm.
the player, we have the signal within the script of the player. So player dot the
Hmm.
script the signal name, and then we connect and we connected it to this function. In this
Okay.
function, every time a coin is being picked up, we just increase the score, and we print it out to see how much we scored, basically.
Okay. And basically the printing is happening at the bottom of the screen in like an editor of
Yes.
sorts or something.
Mhm, mhm. Now we're gonna add a label to
Okay.
make the score visible on the main screen.
Awesome.
So we go back to 2D, we select the main. We're gonna add a canvas layer, which is something that is not related to the camera. So it's just gonna be on the screen all the time. So canvas layer. We're gonna add inside it a label to display the score. We're gonna name it score label. Here we can align it to all the different sides of the screen. Center, it stays in the center. On the right, this is important for mobile development. If you want the screens here to change uh, and scalable, this is important to keep to keep the layers in alignment with the screen while it stretches. So we're going to just keep it on the top right and move it a bit. We're going to test it now by typing 0. Okay. Want it to be horizontally aligned to the right and vertically aligned to the center. Okay. This is just a simple uh, holder. What's it called? Okay. Going to go back to main, enter the script. Going to have this as a reference. And we want at first to display the score. So we're going to go to score label. We're going to access the text. So uh, score label dot text equals str score. This str converts this integer, which is a number, into a string that can be displayed inside the text. And then every time we want to add score, we want to do the same thing. We just copy this, paste, save, and play. Well, you can see the score here displayed. 1, 2, 3. This is it. Just gonna drag it up a bit. Save. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Now we're gonna add a music track. So inside the Kenny folder, or the music that we added, we downloaded this. Gonna drag it inside the asset. And in the same way we created the audio from before, we're gonna add an audio stream player, music. We're gonna click we're gonna click on this and go to import, make sure it's looping because we want it to loop because it's music. And gonna drag it in to the music, and it's there. And inside the script, we want it to play at the start. So here, we need uh, reference to it, music. Gonna say music dot play, and it should play now at the start. Okay. I'm just gonna show you a bit more nodes. I'm gonna add a button to restart the level. So I'm gonna go to canvas layer because I don't want it to move with the camera. I'm gonna add a button. Okay. We can also add a texture button. Wait, let me see. Delete. Okay. Gonna add a texture button. Not sure if I can do image texture. Yeah, I don't think I can do a region with this. So I'm gonna just create a button.
Well, Karim, do we need to have all our like UI stuff in under like a canvas layer, or can they just be like free?
It's better to have them under a canvas layer.
Okay, okay.
Just gonna go and drag it a bit. Press just R, put R, and okay. So like we did with the area of this and connected the signal, we're gonna connect the signal here on button pressed. So when we press it, we want to relate it to the main and connect. Here, we want to do a restart of the scene. So get free dot reload currency. This should do it. Okay. Any questions so far?
Cool. This makes sense. So, what's the get tree function? Where did we get this one from?
The get tree is basically it gets all this tree. Okay.
Oh,
So, so we can have get tree, load another scene, load packed scene, change scene to packed. So we can change another
hmm
scene to another scene. We can say get tree, get nodes in group, and we can basically interact with all this tree.
okay.
If you have, for example, these, let's say, just a simple node. Okay, we can get, for example, all the nodes, all the child nodes. Get node, um, get children. Anyway, we can see if we click Control and click on this, we can see all the things that we can do. So get tree, scene tree inside the tree, get tree. We can do all these things inside them. So if we say get
Yes.
tree string, we see all of this. Get viewport, we see all of this. Yeah, so it's just the basic documentation inside Godot. Click nodes and group. And ouch. See? Okay. Okay, what do I do? On button pressed. Okay, get tree, reload
Hey, were
currency.
the groups missing?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's a different. Yeah, I need to revise Sarah.
no worries, all
Okay, so
good.
we just went to get tree and reload currency, and it reloaded the currency. So it's simple. This is how buttons work.
Cool.
What else do we need? We can create a win condition.
Yeah, let's do it.
So like we did with the coin, we're gonna add another area 2D. Gonna create it door. Gonna add a collision shape 2D and the sprite 2D. Gonna add this one and create a region for it, enabled, edit region. We're gonna go for this one, this door thing. Close, save it under scenes, and if we zoom in, we should be able to see it. Create a new collision shape. It's gonna be a square. Make it smaller. Just drag it to the bottom so we can see it, and this should work. We're gonna name the group for the node. Each node can have a simple group. So we're gonna select the door, gonna name the group uh, door, add. Gonna go to coin, add also, click on the coin, add also another group called coin, and under player, gonna edit a little bit this one. Gonna add if statements. So if the area dot is in group coin, we want to do this. However, if the area that we collided with is in group door, we want to do something else, which is emitting a signal. We're going to call it win. Now we're going to define the signal at the top, signal win. And in the main script, we're going to connect to that signal. So player dot win dot connect win game. So we're going to have to create this function at the bottom, function win game returns nothing. And for now, we're going to pass. We're going to edit another thing in the canvas layer, add the label, call it win label, and just say you win. Going to align it to the center. We just drag it a bit to the top. We're going to toggle the visibility off because we don't want it to be shown at the start. And then we go back to the script. We take this as a reference, win label. And on win game, you want the win label dot visible equals true. So that changes the visibility from toggled off to toggled on. Go play. Oh, we need to add the door inside the scene. So we go instantiate scene under main. We add the door. We drag it here. Then we play. We need to change the collision to be at interactables. Then play again. This is it. I'm just going to drag it inside the main to have the door on top of the player so that the player can be visible behind everything, in front of everything. This is it. We also need to change, just a second. I did say group. Sorry, as in group coin, it's in increment score, keep free. The coins are not working for some reason now. It's in group coin, increment score. Here it is, keep free. Hmm, we've reached some technical difficulties.
This is part of
Oh,
every coding exercise. So,
we just added the we forgot to press the add button, I think. And this should work now. Yeah.
oh, fantastic. What did we forget to add
Okay.
exactly?
Under coin, when I entered the coin group, I forgot to press add to make it visible in the I forgot to press add here.
Very fair. Yeah, this does happen. Cool. All right. Yeah, so honestly, debugging is something that we need to go through. I was surprised that we didn't have, like, we only had one problem, to be honest. Usually, when it comes to live demos, just like Ed said, they usually come with a lot of bugs. So this is really, really good, actually. All right, so I'm gonna try to summarize the last few things we mentioned. So basically, at first we started by creating a player, adding him, getting him to move by adding a pre-written script that was written by Godot to get us started. After that, we created our coins, and to create our coins, we needed, then we created the tile map. And in the tile map, we set our ground and we set our ground and we set where our character was going to stand. After that, we added our coins. And what we gave our coins was a way to collide with the player and a way for the player to understand that these are also coins. With the coins, we then added a score label, which allows us to keep track of the score. And after we finished adding our score label, we started working on a way to restart the level, which is where we added the restart button. And this is a clickable
Yes.
button that we click. And then finally, we added a door, and the door was used so that we can finish winning the level. And we connected all of these with different functions. The functions can be seen inside the scripts, which is at the top part of the screen. And since we're using 2D, we're also going to be using the 2D part of the screen. Um, and yeah, basically, once you get to the door, you win the level. So this is basically a full um, practice demo of what a 2D platformer would look like in Godot. Is this correct?
Yes,
Awesome. All right.
that is true.
Great. Type, do we have any questions on this? Do we have anything that someone is confused about, something of the sort? Or are we good on these topics. I know it's a lot. I know that some of you may have not had enough time to think about this and are only finding out what it is that you know and don't know. So that's totally fine. We have a bunch of people that are apparently really familiar with Godot, which is great. So you can always reach out to everyone and see what they think and if they need help. Uh, oh, this is pretty.
Gonna drag
So,
this on top. Okay.
oh, this is great. I think it's just the door that's hidden at this point.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, great. It seems that we have Ed and Yusuf that are willing to help out, which is wonderful to see. For anyone that's looking into learning how to make their first game, this can literally be your first game. Like this in itself is enough. We have a player, we have items that we can grab, and we can finally have a way to finish the level by winning through it. As you saw that we interacted with the coins and they disappeared, what you can also do is you can create an enemy and have the player disappear instead. So by combining some of the things that we've taught you today, you're able to create your first game in Godot and to create something with whatever your imagination desires. Um, One of the things I wanted to ask Karim is, Karim, where did you actually learn how to use Godot? Like, did you just do it on your own? Did you like smash your face with a keyboard, or was there something else?
I actually have very good resources here. First, we have this GD Quest app, which is Learn GD Script from Zero. I have the links. I'll just link them just a second. It's going to link them in the Microsoft Teams. These are all the links that I recommend. We have this GD Quest Learn GD Script from Zero, and they have also paid courses. But this is very good, a very good start, and it teaches you the basics of the language GD script and the basics of Godot, the engine. It basically is like this. It goes through some basic info, and then you have practice stuff. You also have this very good Udemy course. I know it's $74, but every week there's like discounts on Udemy, and it goes for 14 or $12. It's very easy. You also have the YouTube channel of GD Quest. You have Heartbeast is a very good. He explains very well, and he does a lot of good uh, free tutorials. And we have Brakis. If any one of you is familiar with him, he started just recently doing Godot. Also, there's I don't usually do 3D, but I've heard that this guy is very has a very good 3D course, and it's almost 7 hours and 30 minutes. So it's a lot of content in one video. And of course, if you're a little bit advanced and you understand on your own, you can just go to docs.go engine and read up on everything. You have getting started step by step, your first 2D game, your first 3D game, and it's easy.
Awesome. All right, great. Thank you so much, Karim. This was
You're
really good,
welcome.
honestly. I
Thank
didn't
you.
expect myself to um, actually understand Godot as quickly as I did. Uh, I do think I'll need to review the video, to be honest. But
Yeah, I think I went a
overall, I
little too
think it.
fast.
Yeah, but there's a pause button on YouTube, so that usually helps a lot. And
Yeah,
you're in our Discord server as well, so we can ask you anything that we may have.
of
Ed
course.
is saying that the Godot docs are really useful and insightful. A lot of built-in tutorials and guidance. Can you just remind us how we can access these um, the docs?
Yeah, I think I provided here in
You
the
know, as
link.
the in-engine. I mean in-engine.
Oh, in engine. But the in engine is not as useful as the one that's but
Mm,
if you want to select, for example, if you want to know about, let's say, print, you just
hmm
press Command or Control while holding it and press it with the mouse. You get
hmm
thrown into the in-engine docs and just says everything that's everything that's available here, converts one or more arguments of any type of string in the best way possible, and prints them on the console. So this is basically the console. This is for debugging. This is what
hmm
printed 1, 2, 3. If we want something else, we just close this. If you wanted to know about get tree, same thing. Is inside tree, is multiplayer. and it provides like a simple understanding of the node and what it does.
Hmm.
But in the Google Docs website, it provides examples and more explanation.
Okay. Makes sense.
This is
Cool.
this is like a quick reference.
Mm. Awesome. All right. Uh, cool. All right, then I guess we have no questions at the moment. If people want to either follow you for your pixel art or for questions in Godot or to make a game with you or something of the sort, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, or HIO.
Hmm.
Let's see. Just gonna type them
Sure, sure, sure.
on Instagram. Need Twitter, mm, and Q&A.h.io.
Awesome. All right, great. Type Kareem. Thank you so much for today. If anyone has any questions, come and just throw them into our Discord server and we will help you out. And that's it. All right. Thank you so, so much, Kareem. Yalla. Take care, you guys. We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you. Bye bye.